like and subscribe. Beyond Antarctica, Chapter 3. After a week spent fortifying the Celeb Mariner and giving it a few extra days to ensure safety, the crew prepared to embark on their journey. Their plan, as John explained, was to follow the coast closely to conserve fuel and take advantage of a natural ocean current flowing in their direction. As they set sail, a group of dolphins appeared, racing alongside the ship in playful arcs. Tony points out to the captain that their presence is a welcoming sign of the ocean's approval. John agrees. Dolphins are always a good sign. 8 hours or so go by and then, from the top deck, Bob cried out, "John, get up here. You'll want to see this." John and Bick rushed to the top deck. "This better be good," John grumbled. "You're supposed to be getting the sonar working for me, at least if possible." "Yeah, about that," Bick interjected as he joined them. "I told him to hold off on that. I'm not sure if we should be announcing our position with any signals. We need to run silent unless needed. Apex predators don't usually run away from loud noises and lights. They investigate." "Silent running, riding the current," John murmured, nodding in agreement. "That's smart. Saves fuel and doesn't draw attention." Bick sipped his coffee, adding, "I'd like to take credit, but it was Tony's suggestion." "Yeah, just over there," Bob replied, slightly exasperated. "Look over at the coast by the tall rock formations." John took the binoculars Bob handed him and peered through them. His eyes widened in awe. "Wow! Turn inland," he shouted to Todd, who was behind the wheel at the time, and quickly obeyed the command, turning the ship. "What is it?" Bick asked, his interest now fully piqued. Bob laughed. "He won't believe you, John." John, lowering the binoculars, handed them to Bick and hurried off as he called over his shoulder, "Have a look for yourself, Bick," then shouted out, "Prepare the dinghy." Left alone in bewilderment, Bick quickly scanned the horizon. What he saw was astonishing. A stone dock, ancient and weathered, leading to a protective man-made cove with stairs that climbed up to a dazzling white pyramid that glimmered in the sun as if sprinkled with glitter. At its pinnacle sat a golden capstone, all nestled on a ridgeline protected by towering mountains on both sides and backed by a thick jungle. As Bick absorbed the sight, the implications of their discovery began to dawn on him. As the ship dropped anchor, "We are going ashore," John's voice carried across the air as the dinghy was lowered into the water. The dinghy's motor hummed softly as it sliced through the calm waters, carrying part of the crew towards the mysterious shoreline. Towering in the distance, a pyramid beckoned them. As they approached, the grandeur of the edifice became even more apparent. The stairs leading up to the entrance were unusually large, each step roughly 3 feet tall, requiring the explorers to pull themselves up by hand to the next level. Todd says, "John, I don't think these are stairs." Kim looks at him and replies, "Look at the size of the other blocks. They must be 50 by 50 feet, massive blocks. My fear is, Todd, that these are the stairs." John nods at Kim, acknowledging her point as Todd insists, "No, that can't be. That would mean the humans that built this were 15 feet tall or more." Bick interjects, "You implied human, Todd. I might note." They all fall silent, contemplating the implications. After climbing up to what appeared to be an entrance to the pyramid, they stood in front of a massive 30-foot-tall archway, flanked by 2 main pillars adorned with hieroglyphs. At the base of each pillar sat 2 stone lions, as if they were the guardians of the gateway. John handed Todd the shotgun, saying, "Take this, make a loop around the pyramid on this level, scope out the surrounding area, then come back and report what you find." Todd nodded in acknowledgement. Kim, intrigued by the glyphs on the pillars, began to decipher the simple pictographs. "These seem to depict what I can assess as an ancient seaport," she explained, pointing out the images that marked trade routes leading to a map of grand cities. "If I'm reading this right, this site might be on the outer edge of a much larger system of connected cities through trade." "What else does it say?" Bick leaned in, his interest piqued. "I can't really read it," Kim admitted, "but look, it's depicted in a way that's almost intuitive. What does it look like to you?" As Bick leaned closer to examine the intricate hieroglyphs, his analytical mind began to piece together the underlying patterns. Exactly as you said, he murmured, his eyes tracing the lines that sprawled across the ancient stone. These lines running out from this location, it's a map. A realization as he absorbed the significance of what they were observing. The lines, meticulously etched into the pillars, extended in various directions, suggesting routes that connected this site to distant lands or cities. John, understanding the importance of preserving the information they had discovered, rummaged through his backpack, extracting a piece of paper suitable for the task at hand. Kneeling down, he scooped up some mud from his shoe, a makeshift tool. Carefully, he pressed the paper against the glyphs, using his fingers to spread the mud across the paper's surface, ensuring every symbol was transferred. "It's rough," he remarked as he peeled the paper back to inspect his work, "but it'll do," he concluded. The imprints of the ancient script were not perfect, but they were clear enough to serve as a crude map. Kim couldn't help but chuckle at her father. Holding up her smartphone, she playfully teased, "Dad, I can just take a picture." With a few quick taps, she captured high-resolution images of the intricate carvings, ensuring every detail was preserved. As she was about to lower her phone, she noticed something odd on the screen. Pausing, she stared more intently, her expression shifting to one of confusion. "That's strange," she muttered, her amusement fading into curiosity. "My phone is charging." She held it up, showing the charging symbol, even though it wasn't connected to any power source. "Let me see," Bick said, intrigued by Kim's unexpected discovery. He took the phone from her hands, examining the screen closely. As he toggled the settings to confirm that the device was indeed charging without any apparent power source, just then their contemplations were interrupted by Todd's excited voice echoing from the perimeter of the site. Rushing back towards the group, his eyes wide, Todd announced breathlessly, "Guys, there's an overgrown city back here, just beyond the wall that encircles the pyramid." His words caught everyone's attention immediately. The group quickly gathered their gear, their interest piqued by Todd's discovery. As they followed him, the sounds of the surrounding jungle intensified. As they turned the corner, they emerged to see the ruins of a vast city sprawling before them. Overgrown with vegetation, the city hinted at a once thriving civilization. The buildings, though eroded and overtaken by nature, showed sophisticated architecture and hinted at the grandeur that once was. "Get some pics of this, Kim. We can investigate the city later. I want to go inside the pyramid first," Bick decided. As they returned to the grand entrance, Bick, digging in his backpack, grabbed his flashlight. Turning it on, he noted the light was unusually intense. He switched it off, yet it still glowed as if slightly on. John tested his flashlight, observing similar effects. The group, led by John with pistol and flashlight in hand, entered the pyramid. "Stay close, Kim," he instructed, his tone protective as they delved deeper into the structure. John turned. "Todd, we need someone to stay here and keep watch, make sure everything stays secure." Todd couldn't suppress his frustration. "Really, John, the find of a lifetime, and you put me on door duty?" he muttered under his breath, his voice tinged with resentment. The thrill of discovery had engulfed every member of the crew, and being sidelined at such a critical moment felt like a missed opportunity. But Todd took his spot, knowing John would not ask, if he did not think it was an important role to be filled. As John, Kim, and Bick entered the pyramid, Kim noted the walls of the passage were unexpectedly plain, lacking the intricate hieroglyphs that adorned the exterior. The passage funneled the trio deeper into the heart of the structure. The corridor led upward at a gentle incline, drawing them silently towards its end, where it opened into a massive room. The vast chamber that greeted them was stark in its simplicity compared to the elaborate exterior of the pyramid. The only feature of note was a large, stone square box positioned at the center of the room. Its lid now lay askew, partially slid off. The box itself was imposing, carved from the same stone as the walls around them, its surface smooth and cold to the touch. As they approached, the emptiness of the room echoed around them. There was no decorations, no inscriptions, nothing but the box to suggest any sort of purpose to the chamber. "Kim, come here," John called softly, breaking the silence. "I'll boost you up to look over and see what's inside." Kim nodded, stepping closer. "Yeah, I might be tall enough to see, she replied, positioning herself beside the box. John clasped his hands together, offering a step for her boot as he gently lifted her towards the edge of the stone container. With John's assistance, Kim peered into the box. A moment passed, an endless, breath-holding silence as she surveyed the interior. Then, she announced, "There are white balls at the bottom," her voice echoing slightly in the vast chamber. "Toss me your rope, Bick," she requested, preparing for a closer inspection. She quickly tied the rope around herself, securing it before Bick lowered her into the box. As she descended, a sudden scream jolted everyone's nerves. Kim's foot had smashed through something unexpectedly, causing a loud, cracking sound to reverberate through the chamber. A viscous ooze splashed all over her shoe. From outside the box, John yelled out in fear. "Kim!" "I'm fine, just messy," Kim called back, turning her flashlight toward her feet. She inspected the damage. "Pull me out quick," she urged, her tone urgent. Bick, reacting swiftly, pulled her up with authority, while John caught her as she emerged, helping her back onto solid ground. "We need to get out of here, now," Kim insisted, shaking off her shoe. John asks, "What did you see?" "I think those were eggs, the size of basketballs, and I broke one. Something was using this box as a nest." But at that moment, a rustling sound from the shadows at the back of the room caught their attention. As they turned their lights toward the noise, they were met with a horrifying sight. A massive snake, coiling up and raising its head, now staring right at them. "Run!" John shouted, using the gun. He fires at the snake as it lunged forward, its massive body slithering rapidly toward them. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, the crew dashed frantically towards the entrance of the pyramid, their hearts pounding in their chests. The massive snake, now fully awakened and enraged by the disturbance, pursued them relentlessly, its menacing hisses echoing through the chamber. John shoots until the pistol empties, the creature seemingly impervious to the damage, its thick scales deflecting the bullets just as they reached the entrance. And with the snake poised to strike, Todd stepped forward, clutching the shotgun tightly. He unleashed a barrage of shots. The force of the gunfire startled the snake, causing it to recoil and slither back into the depths of the pyramid, its menacing presence fading into the shadows. Gasping for breath and covered in sweat, the crew collapsed at the entrance, their narrow escape from the clutches of the predator leaving them shaken. The crew hastily made their way back to the Celeb Mariner. Once safely aboard, the captain convened a meeting to discuss their next move. He began by declaring that the ship would remain anchored until morning, reviewing the photos they had taken. He noted to the crew that one line in the hieroglyphs coincided with the natural ocean current. With this information, he posed a crucial decision to the crew. Do we investigate the old city or move on? He decided to give everyone the night to ponder their options. Their choice would dictate the next phase of their expedition. The night passed with the crew members dwelling on the possibilities. By morning, a sense of resolve had settled over the Celeb Mariner. John called another meeting, this time giving the floor to Bick, who had been mulling over the implications of each option. "Do we move on?" Bick announced. "Or do we remain and document more? There's not much an old city has to offer us itself, and we have pictures, but there might be hidden secrets or treasures that we might uncover, or we try and find a safer location without such a fierce guardian." He then drops a piece of paper containing his vote into a hat, then sits the hat on the table and says, "We vote." This is not goodbye, nor the end. Until the story continues, my friends. B.N.Rocker.